To some, Cristiano Ronaldo was arrogant. To others, he was a mentality monster driven by the relentless pursuit of numbers and accolades. To his greatest fans, he was football's most clutch player, even while playing the game like one of the sport's most extraordinary artists. In truth, Ronaldo had a unique combination of personality, style, and results that made him one of the most marketable humans on the planet. An entire generation wanted to be like Ronaldo, whether it was the way he struck a ball, the dedication in maintaining his world-class physique, or the confidence in which he carried himself. The five-time Ballon d'Or winner was an inspiration to diehard football fans and casuals alike. He changed the game's cultural style with record-breaking commercials with Nike, defied sports science by scoring at 6 World Cup tournaments, and redefined the number of goals a player must score to be considered a modern great. To pay homage to the all-timer, we've compiled a list of stories that prove Ronaldo has the most aura in football history. Ronaldo's rise to footballing supremacy is often attributed to one trait: his work rate and desire to better himself. In framing the Portuguese superstar like this, it can be easy to forget that Ronaldo is among the most naturally gifted players to ever play football. When CR7 joined Sporting CP, aged just 12 years old, his talent was already so far ahead of all of his other teammates that it was obvious that he'd become a professional footballer. Jose Semedo, Ronaldo's roommate during the early years in the Sporting Academy, claimed, "Everyone at Sporting knew he was going to be a professional footballer. Maybe we didn't imagine he'd win 3 Ballon d'Ors, but a professional footballer for sure." Ronaldo shared that confidence and, according to Semedo, had little interest in attending school in Lisbon. He said, "Every day I would wake up at 6:30 a.m., slowly creep around the room, and every single day he'd wake up and ask, 'Semi, where are you going? If the boss finds out we miss school, we'll get kicked out,'" Semedo would reply, only to be met with a response of, "No, stay here and sleep with me. We'll be footballers anyway. We don't need school." In the same way that Ronaldo would back himself to score clutch penalties in the Champions League several years later, he already had enough trust in his ability to assume that he wouldn't need an education. When the forward was asked about his time at Sporting years later, he responded, "At 15 years old, I told my teammates that I would become the best player in the world. They just laughed." But if Ronaldo was to become the best in the world, not just the most exciting in Sporting's academy, he'd have to improve his overall work rate. After impressing during his first 25 games in Sporting's first team, Ronaldo received the audition of his life, a preseason friendly against Sir Alex Ferguson's Man United. In 2003, Man United were among the strongest teams on the planet, winning 7 of the last 11 Premier League titles. They faced Ronaldo's side in a preseason friendly, expecting to breeze past the Portuguese outfit. But CR7 started on the left wing and instantly terrorized United's defenders. He carried the ball with a distinct running style that became world famous years later. He produced skill moves like a Brazilian great, and he had the final product and decision-making of an established star. United's players were so impressed by Ronaldo that they begged Sir Alex Ferguson to sign the winger immediately. Former midfielder Quinton Fortune said, "We sat in the dressing room after the 3-1 defeat and we were just raving about him. Why wouldn't we? He was unbelievable. Most of us had never seen anyone with such a swagger." Meanwhile, United's masseuse, Rod Thornley, remembers, "So, halftime's come, the players' dressing room is one side of a corridor and the management and the medical staff's on the other side. It's like partitioned off. We've sorted the players out, they're on their way out to the second half, and we come to just get ourselves changed to go out for the second half. Sir Alex is in there with David Gill and a representative from Sporting Lisbon, and whether it was the agent, I don't know, and they're discussing, we want to take him now, we want him tonight." While Ronaldo didn't board the plane with the United stars that were desperate to sign him, he arrived at Old Trafford shortly afterwards to put pen to paper on a £12 million transfer, the most an English club had ever paid for a teenager. And with that lofty price tag would come pressure to perform. Despite producing an iconic performance against Bolton Wanderers on his Old Trafford debut, Ronaldo's first year in England wasn't ideal. He scored 4 times in 29 Premier League appearances, hardly the form of a player destined to go down in history. While his talent was undeniable, many in England believed Man United's new winger was more of a show pony than a player who could take the serial winners to even more titles. So he worked relentlessly to become one of the team's starting players. Teammate Steve Fletcher recalls he brought in ankle weights to train, so in a game he felt sharper when he took the ankle weights off. What a guy. He was determined to be the best player in the world. When you see his ability, yeah, he was frustrating in the beginning. He was a young, skinny lad, but the dedication and effort he put in That single-mindedness allowed him to go and become the best player in the world. But even though Ronaldo was working in a way that few players had done before him, it wasn't until his latter years at Old Trafford that he was considered among the best in the world. That didn't stop CR7 from telling his teammates about the player he intended to become. Goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar once said during an interview, "Cristiano was incredible. He was always in the gym before and after training. I'd never seen such a hungry young man. He always told me, 'Edwin, I'm going to be the best in the world.' I told him not to overdo it." You can imagine Ronaldo's self-confidence irritated some of his United teammates who were accustomed to ruthless winners, not skinny wingers. Perhaps none were more frustrated than forward Ruud van Nistelrooy, who developed an iconic relationship with Man United's previous winger, David Beckham. The English player had extraordinary technical ability and knew when and how to release the ball quickly. That contrasted with Ronaldo's style, who was less predictable and would demonstrate moments of brilliance before giving the ball away cheaply by holding on to it for too long. During one training session, Van Nistelrooy went crazy at Ronaldo. Defender Rio Ferdinand remembers, "I think it was a good moment for him, but he didn't take it too well. Ruud was the man at United at the time. He was the man who scored all the goals. Ronaldo had the ball wide and was doing tricks, and Ruud was making the run in the box. Ronaldo didn't pass, and Ruud went crazy, screaming, 'He should be in the circus. He shouldn't be on the pitch.' Ruud walked in off the training pitch, and Ronaldo got upset and angry. 'Why is he talking to me like that?' He was 18 or 19 at the time. Some kids would have gone under and lost confidence. Some would have kept doing the same. But Ronaldo knew that Ruud might be great, and then it became all about numbers, about statistics, goals. From that moment on, Ronaldo's career changed forever. Because during the 06, 07, 8, 9, and 9-10 seasons at Old Trafford, Ronaldo scored a combined 66 Premier League goals, 48 more than he produced during his first 3 seasons at United. But beyond the frustrations of his teammates, what made Ronaldo transition from a flashy winger to the most ruthless attacker in world football? One member of Sir Alex's backroom staff, René Meulenstein, claimed he always wanted to score the most important goal and the most beautiful goal. Therefore, he missed a lot of opportunities to score goals. I wanted to change this mindset to understanding it's all about scoring as many goals as you can. That was the biggest transition he made. So, Ronaldo worked relentlessly with the Dutch coach to improve his finishing skills. Meulenstein watched the future 5-time Ballon d'Or winner change from a player that would practice impressive but unproductive tricks to one who would spend hours working on his knuckleball technique. When United number 7 eventually unleashed his spectacular knuckleball free kick against Portsmouth in January 2008, it was plainly obvious that Ronaldo was no longer the winger that frustrated Van Nistelrooy a couple of years earlier. He was one who could win games single-handedly, either by a piece of technical brilliance from range or by being in the right place at the right time inside the box. That season, Ronaldo evolved into the best player in the world, combining his dribbling skills with output, scoring 42 goals in all competitions during a season in which United won the Premier League and the Champions League. The concept of a player as technically gifted and capable on the ball also being so productive from inside the box was pretty much unheard of at the time. Given that Ronaldo was still only 22, many began to wonder whether his iconic 7-8 season was just a record-breaking Premier League campaign or one that indicated whether one of the next greatest players of all time had finally arrived on the world stage. His legacy would be defined by the next 18 years of his career, and it's safe to say the story was extraordinary. After beating Chelsea in the Champions League final during 7-8, United looked set to retain the trophy in 8-9 as they defeated Inter Milan, Porto, and Arsenal on their way to the final. During that run, Ronaldo scored screamers against Porto and Arsenal, only intensifying claims that he was the world's greatest player. But despite reaching superstar status while Man United won football's biggest prizes, tabloids began reporting that CR7 favored a move to Real Madrid after the final, which would be played against Barcelona. The Catalan club had emerged as La Liga's dominant club, winning the 08-09 title by 9 points as Lionel Messi scored over 20 league goals in a season for the first time. There were fears that Barcelona, now managed by Pep Guardiola, could completely overpower Madrid with Messi as their talisman if Los Blancos were not ambitious in the transfer market. Those anxieties only louded when Barcelona cruised past Man United in the Champions League final, winning the game 2-0 and making the English champions look like amateurs. The night confirmed 2 things. Lionel Messi was a generational talent set to enjoy a career like no other, and Ronaldo had outgrown United. The Portuguese forward needed to become a Galactico, to battle Messi for the Ballon d'Or each season, and to become a true Champions League great to match his personal ambitions. So, despite the reluctance of the Man United board, Ronaldo was sold to Real Madrid for a world record fee of £80 million, joining the club's other major signings of the summer, Xabi Alonso, Kaká, and Karim Benzema. And just like that, the prime El Clasico era began, and Ronaldo would be at the forefront of everything. When CR7 arrived at the Bernabeu, Real Madrid weren't the undisputed biggest club in the world that they are today. They hadn't won the Champions League since 2002 and had only lifted 6 of the last 19 La Liga titles, with Barcelona winning the title in 9 seasons over the same period. They had also won 2 of the last 4 Champions League trophies while playing the most attractive brand of football the game had ever seen. Ronaldo's job? To reinstate Madrid as football's biggest and greatest institution. Ronaldo wasn't only attractive to Madrid for his on-field brilliance, he also had the marketing pull to improve the club's commercial performance and overall brand image. You see, despite being in his early 20s, Ronaldo's number 7 Manchester United jersey was sold more than any other in the Premier League. He was building an army of loyal followers, many of whom resonated with Ronaldo beyond his footballing brilliance. Ronaldo's story of being a poor kid from Madeira to struggling to adapt instantly to the Premier League to becoming the world's greatest player through a combination of talent, physicality, and willpower was the perfect rise to greatness arc. It gave fans hope that if they replicated his dedication, they too could achieve their dreams and become the best in their field. But in truth, few people on earth could match Ronaldo's dedication, and even fewer could develop such a strong brand while doing it. By the time Ronaldo joined Real Madrid, his CR7 tag had already become iconic. Despite having to wear the number 9 jersey during his opening year at Madrid, Los Blancos reaped €100 million in revenue from Ronaldo jerseys during his first season. In fact, over 1 million Ronaldo 9 jerseys were purchased in the city of Madrid alone. Even the club's previous superstars, David Beckham, Ronaldo Nazario, and Zinedine Zidane, simply couldn't match those numbers. Ronaldo's commercial growth coincided with Nike's marketing strategy of sponsoring the biggest players in each sport to represent their brand. The forward became Nike's biggest football ambassador, joining names such as Tiger Woods, LeBron James, and Rafael Nadal. Ronaldo had reached superstar level, but it was time to deliver on the pitch. On a personal level, Ronaldo's first 2 La Liga seasons were ridiculous. The forward notched 26 in year 1 and 40 in year 2. Despite his individual success, Barcelona pipped Madrid to La Liga in both seasons, and in 2011 beat Ronaldo's team on the way to winning another Champions League. Madrid were losing the war, and by this point in Ronaldo's career, he wasn't a skinny winger doing pointless stepovers. He was 26 years old and viewed as one of the leaders responsible for ending Barcelona's generational run under Guardiola. It was time for the next evolution in Ronaldo's development. He'd already refined his game and improved his output from his early United days, but now, to defeat the greatest team of all time, he'd have to score at crucial moments and carry his team to seemingly impossible victories. CR7 scored 2 in Real's first Madrid derby against Atletico during 11-12 before notching a hat-trick in the return fixture. By the time Real Madrid played Barca with 5 games remaining, Ronaldo had already scored 41 La Liga goals as Madrid led their El Clasico rivals by 4 points. To avoid Barca reducing the gap ahead of the final games of the season, Madrid had to win at the Camp Nou. With 17 minutes remaining, the teams were tied at 1-1 and Barca were in the ascendancy. But Mesut Ozil played a clever through ball to Ronaldo, which the 41-goal striker latched onto before expertly taking it around the keeper and sticking the ball into the net with an excellent finish. He celebrated with his now iconic calm down celebration as he had effectively won Madrid's greatest title of the modern era. Madrid eventually lifted La Liga with a record-breaking 100 points as CR7 scored 46 goals. He won Madrid's first title in 3 seasons, ultimately setting up the European history that eclipsed Barcelona's achievements later that decade. But before Ronaldo broke dozens of Champions League records, he suffered an injury that threatened to ruin his career. In June 2014, Just a few weeks after he lifted the second Champions League of his career, he was diagnosed with a knee condition called tendinosis. The injury was expected to have long-lasting effects. It was thought that he'd lose a yard of pace, become less agile, and a less effective striker of the ball. Given that Ronaldo's early career was defined by a deadly combination of pace, dribbling skills, and knuckleball strikes, he'd have to refine his game if he was to remain among the greatest players in the world. Ronaldo was forced to switch from left wing to become a central striker. He was made to become less reliant on his pace and trickery and think more intelligently about his off-ball movement from inside the box. If Ronaldo couldn't adapt effectively to his physical changes, he'd be remembered as one of the greatest of his generation, but probably not within the top 5 of all time. Yet, it turned out the injury was the making of Ronaldo. The forward improved his recovery protocols, making ice baths, physio, and sleep routines even more optimized. If he wasn't going to be able to move as elegantly as he did during his 20s, he'd make sure that his recovery was near perfect to avoid further deterioration and that he'd continue developing his mindset. He played centrally more frequently during the 14-15 season, somehow producing the most productive campaign of his career, scoring 48 goals in La Liga. The nature of Ronaldo's goals was changing too. He learned the art of the messy finish, scoring goals from inside the box during decisive moments. His most dominant assets had switched from technique and physicality to composure and intelligence. Post 14-15, Ronaldo became the most clutch player in the history of the game. Madrid won the Champions League during 3 consecutive seasons, with Ronaldo scoring 2 UCL final goals. But had Ronaldo not been there, Madrid wouldn't have enjoyed even half of the success. In 2016, Real faced Wolfsburg in the Champions League quarterfinals, having lost the first leg 2-0. An impossible mission was made simple by Ronaldo scoring a hat-trick in the second leg to drag Madrid to the semi-finals. The following season, Real faced city rivals Atletico in the Final Four. The UCL clash was set to be an epic battle between 2 of Spanish football's greatest teams, but Ronaldo effectively ended the contest in the first leg by scoring a hat-trick in a 3-0 win. During that period of Ronaldo's career, he also lifted the 2016 European Championships with Portugal, scoring 2 crucial equalizers against Hungary during the group stages and netting the winner against Wales in the semi-finals. In the final, Ronaldo was forced off by an injury, but his Portugal teammates claim that the forward gave a coach-like speech at halftime, installing them with confidence that they could win the trophy without him. When Cedric Suarez was asked about it, he said, "He was fantastic. His attitude was unbelievable. Always, he helped a lot our teammates. He always had a lot of motivational words, and all the team, of course, reacted to them, so it was very good." By this stage in Ronaldo's career, he hadn't just developed the greatest mindset in football, but had learned how to communicate it to his teams too. In 2018, Ronaldo saved Portugal once again by scoring an iconic hat-trick, including a last-minute free kick against Spain at the World Cup. But arguably, the most clutch moment of Ronaldo's entire career came when he faced Atletico Madrid while playing for Juventus in 2019. Atletico were jubilant after a 2-0 victory in the first leg of the UCL last 16 tie against their old nemesis. In response to the goading of Simeone and Atletico, Ronaldo responded, "I've won 5 Champions League. These guys have won 0. Atletico fans were interviewed outside the stadium mocking the forward. "It's over. 2-0. You're out," one supporter gleefully claimed, but they should have known better than to laugh at the greatest player in Champions League history. In the second leg, Ronaldo scored a hat-trick to make the tie 3-2 and send Atletico out of the Champions League between their legs. Perhaps even more impressively, each of Ronaldo's 3 goals was scored from inside the box, showing the extent to which his game had changed during the 2010s. At the start of the decade, he was arguably the game's most skillful highlight reel player. By the end of it, he was one that could not be beaten when he was down and would drag his teams to unlikely victories. But even though Ronaldo had humiliated so many of his biggest rivals, Barcelona, Atletico, and Spain, at one moment or another, his brilliance, dedication, and resilience eventually made supporters of teams who were supposed to despise him find respect for the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. In 2022, Ronaldo tragically lost his baby son. Soon afterwards, the forward, now back at Man United, would play at Liverpool's Anfield, perhaps the most hostile and unwelcoming atmosphere in world football to experience while experiencing personal trauma. But rather than hurl their usual boos at the Portuguese legend, the stadium sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" in the 7th minute to pay respect to Ronaldo. It was a touching moment that showed the impact that Ronaldo had on the sport, even among those who hated him. After years of watching Ronaldo's failures, listening to the noise of critics, and then watching the forward continually reinventing himself into something better, the sporting world can do nothing but respect Ronaldo's brilliance. Did Ronaldo have a career as well-rounded as Messi's? Probably not. Will he be remembered as the very greatest to ever play the game? Even less likely. But it's indisputable that there's never been a player who demonstrates the human ability to evolve and adapt greater than Ronaldo. Now in his 40s and approaching 1,000 career goals, he goes down as arguably one of the 5 greatest players of all time, and the player everyone could rely on to score a crucial goal when their team needs him most.